Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the second workshop as part of our Move Carlsbad interactive virtual workshop series. My name is Joe Stewart. I'm with the City of Carlsbad Innovation and Economic Development Department, and I am the Age-Friendly Carlsbad Action Plan Manager. Today, we have a really exciting presentation from our partners at NCTD and Circulate San Diego, going over public transit. So with that, I am going to pass it over to our friend Morgan Ruby at Circulate San Diego, who will get us started today. So just wanted to let you know that you guys can feel free to ask questions or provide commentary in the chat function below. So just wanted to offer that up, and we'll be answering questions throughout the presentation. So go ahead and drop your questions in the chat, and we'll have a session towards the end of the presentation today to answer any questions you may have. So with that, Morgan, take it away.
Thanks so much for the intro, Joe. Yeah, my name is Morgan Ruby. I'm an assistant planner here at Circulate San Diego, and I wanted to thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. We're here in partnership with the City of Carlsbad for the Move Carlsbad workshop series. So Move Carlsbad is part of the Age-Friendly Carlsbad initiative in partnership with the San Diego Foundation and AARP. So be sure to visit Carlsbad's Age-Friendly website. You can see the link here on the screen, and we'll provide it again to you at the end. So today we are in our second workshop of this 4-part workshop series. If you missed last week's workshop about ridership or ride sharing, you can find the recording online, and we'll share that link with you so you can find it a bit easier. So today we're going to be talking about public transit. That's the bus, the coaster, Amtrak, with a special guest. And there's 2 more workshops of the following 2 weeks. One talking about walking and biking in Carlsbad, and another talking about what's next in regional mobility. So I'll start off by diving in who Circulate San Diego is and what we do. We're a local nonprofit organization working with residents and communities across San Diego County. We have 2 arms to our organization, and that is the planning and educational side, and then the policy and advocacy side. So our planning team, we do a lot of mobility assessments, safety campaigns, and community engagement. And our policy team does a lot of advocacy for safe streets, transit, and sustainable growth. So our agenda today, we're going to be talking about the NCTD, or North County Transit District, and we're going to be introducing public transit options in Carlsbad, available routes, destination, how to use the bus, coaster, and a little bit about the Carlsbad Connector forthcoming. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce our special guest for today and presenter, Kaelin Daniel, who is a marketing communications coordinator at the North County Transit District. All right, I'll pass it over to you, Kaelin. Let me stop sharing my screen here.
Thank you very much, Morgan. And thank you for reminding me I need to update my LinkedIn photo.
It's easy to forget those details.
So hi, everyone. My name is Kaelin Daniel. As Morgan said, I'm the marketing coordinator at North County Transit District. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about public transit as specific to Carlsbad, kind of what you have at your disposal, some of the breakdown on how it works. And then I'll be available for questions afterward if any of it's confusing or anything wasn't covered. So let me get my presentation prepared here, and then I'm going to take over the screen here, if that's all right. All right. And I kind of stole your PowerPoint. All right. Can everybody see that okay?
Looks great.
All right. So let's dive right in. So who are we? North County Transit District. We were a transit district established back in 1975. So we're about 46 years old. We're a public agency. We provide in fiscal year 2019, when things were a little bit normal again, we provided about 10.3 million trips in a normal year. As I stated, we are a public agency, which means we are governed by the people, and specifically a board of directors with representatives from each of the cities that we service. As you can see there, it's pretty much everyone in North County, including a non-voting member from the city of San Diego as well. Sorry, a little. So what do you have access to in Carlsbad? So there's 3 major transit centers in Carlsbad. You probably are familiar at least with 2 of them. The Carlsbad Village Transit Center, where you can access the bus or the coaster. The Poinsettia Transit Center, which is one of my favorites, just because we redid it here a few years ago. It's beautiful and brand new and really just cool to go check out. Where you can access also Breeze and Sprinter, or Breeze and Coaster. And then the Plaza Community Real Station, where you can access Breeze over by the Outlet Mall. The modes is what we call them. The bus, the trains, our services, we call them modes. So the ones that service Carlsbad are going to be the coaster, the Breeze, which is our bus, and our Lyft service, which is a on-call paratransit service. We'll be focusing primarily on the first 2, coaster and Breeze, and how they relate to you. All right, so first, the Breeze, our big, beautiful blue buses. So this might look a little overwhelming, but this is just kind of a general breakdown of these are the routes that operate throughout Carlsbad. You may see like the 302 starts in Oceanside, ends in Vista, but it actually goes through a good portion of Carlsbad as well. So when you're looking to kind of plan your trips, it's very likely that you're going to be catching one of these buses. What's cool is our website does offer the ability, or you can even just go Google Maps. You can type in where you're starting, where you're going, and it'll automatically figure out the trip for you, where you need to, what bus you need to jump on, what stop to go to, and then what you need to do to get to your destination. So we have that on our homepage at gonctd.com as well, or you can just Google the routes as well on Google Maps. And I'll leave that for a second just to let you kind of absorb. All right.
Also putting links to these resources in the chat as well. So as you mentioned, is the Breeze and the NCTD and stuff. You can feel free to visit their website as you're listening into the workshop.
Very good. Okay, so let's break down this slide here. Taking the Breeze, how do you do it? What's it going to cost? So ultimately, what the first thing you need to do is pick your ride. Where are you going? Next is have your fare ready. Now I have on the right side here is kind of maybe a bit of an overwhelming chart, but I'll break it down for you. Ask yourself, am I taking a single ride? Am I just going from point A to B and that's it? Am I going to be riding throughout the day? Or do I need to have a pass for the whole month? What's easiest for me? What works for my schedule? Now I'm assuming if you look on the right side there, you'll see that there's a different fare. If you're senior, disabled, or on Medicare, provides you a little bit more cost-effective options. Single rides being $1.25, and then going from there as far as what type of service you're looking for, how frequently you're looking for. Ultimately, best case scenario is you're going to have with a single ride you can pay cash. But for your other fares, you're going to need to use what's called a Pronto card. And we'll touch a little bit on that later, but ultimately it's a purple credit card looking item. It's a bus pass. You can put fare onto the bus pass. And when you walk on, if you see that little purple box picture in the bottom left, you just tap it, the card, scan it until it beeps, and then it'll automatically deduct from your account from there. And again, we'll touch on that a little bit later, how to do that, what that looks like. But ultimately, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're able to purchase all of your passes ahead of time, walk on, tap, and relax. One thing I do want to touch on, you'll see under daily and monthly fares, there's both regional and premium regional with the cost difference. So regional is just our most basic service. Pass is going to get you access to our bus. If you're taking, for instance, our Sprinter, which is our small train that goes east to west, or any of like MTS's basic services, regional pass, you can use that for any of those. You can jump from one to any of them if you're using like a daily or monthly pass. Premium regional just gives you a couple other options for that, mainly in regards to MTS service, as well as like our flex routes, which are in part Breeze as well. So it just gives you a few more options depending on where you're trying to get. Okay, here's the exciting one, coaster. No doubt you have seen the coaster coming through your town. You've probably heard it as well. It is our heavy rail service. It goes from Oceanside Transit District or Oceanside Transit Center all the way down to downtown San Diego and everywhere in between. As I said, here's all the places you can hit with that. Oceanside Transit Center, both Carlsbad stations, Encinitas, Solana Beach, Serena Valley, Old Town San Diego, and Santa Fe Depot. On the rare occasion that I have free time on the weekends, I like to take it down to Santa Fe Depot and just kind of hang out in San Diego, catch a Padre game. A lot of really cool, and we're actually going to be expanding our service after this weekend, pretty significantly. So we're going to have a lot more options for people on weekdays and weekends, giving you a lot more flexibility as far as getting down to San Diego, but also coming back. So definitely recommend if you've never taken coaster, you've kind of thought about it but weren't sure. Now's the time to start looking into it because it's going to be more accessible and more convenient than ever. So coaster works pretty similarly to the bus in the sense that you can buy your pass ahead of time and put it on that same bus pass. It works as a train pass as well. Pronto is what it's called. And what you'll do is you'll see these purple boxes before you board at all the stations. You'll just do the same thing. You tap before you get on, sit back and relax. And then depending on where you get off, you'll want to tap again. And the reason for that is we have zones. Basically, all the stations broken down we charge based on how far you're traveling, right? So if you're only going like one stop, you'll want to tap when you get off. Otherwise, by default, it'll charge you for an entire trip. So it's really, really important to tap on, but mostly to tap off. So that way you're getting your full bang for your buck. You're not getting overcharged. That being said, if you're going from Oceanside or Carlsbad all the way down to Santa Fe Depot, that would be the full ride, the full cost. So it's not as important in that case, but tapping on and off not only helps us track who's going where and when, but it's best for you, so you're not overcharged. Okay, so this slide's a little overwhelming, but bear with me. So as I said, our areas are broken into zones, right? We charge you based on how far you're traveling. So a single zone is Oceanside to Solana Beach. Another zone is the Sereno Valley stop. And then another zone is Old Town to Santa Fe Depot. If you're traveling within just a single zone, it's pretty inexpensive. You pay just a one zone fee for either a one-way or round trip if you're coming back. As you'll see with the single ride on the left side there, we charge by zone if you want, and that's one way or round trip, which would be just double the cost. Daily fares. If you're riding the whole day multiple times, you may want to get a Coaster Regional Day Pass. That's going to be $15 for adults, or as you can see, $7.50 for the senior rate. That'll pretty much give you all options. You can ride up and down throughout the day. All of the zones for the flat rate is also a possibility. And then there's also our monthly fares as well. As you can see, you can do a month pass, which is very popular, especially amongst like our commuters or those who are just traveling commonly with the train. What's cool with this is, say if you are doing kind of sporadic rides, you can just put value on your account. You don't necessarily have to buy a pass. You can just put the money on there and tap on and off as you go, and it will pull from that account, pull from your bank, and charge you as needed. So it's really about just how much you're going to ride and what you're looking for throughout that day. So that would be Coaster in a nutshell. Okay, reduced fares. So we've talked a little bit about senior rates, disability, Medicare, and such. There's also youth rates, which are going to be the same price. Do you qualify? So if you're over the age of 65, you are eligible. You just have to provide proof, either a valid driver's license, identification card, any type of government issued card that shows age in a picture. Or if it's easier for you, we also recommend you can actually come into one of our customer service offices, either in Oceanside or Escondido, and soon it'll be Vista as well. And you can actually get a reduced fare Pronto card. So you can get the purple bus pass, train pass with your picture on it, and it'll automatically be set up for a reduced fare service for you. So you'll have no issues when you buy the reduced fare cards. You'll already be in our system ready to go, and it makes it a little bit more convenient for you. We also have our persons with disabilities rates as well. You can always register for that with us. More information for that is on our website. I do have the link there. Or if you have other questions, you can always call our customer service line. They'll be able to help you Monday through Friday, 7 to 7, and then weekends as well. And then Medicare recipient works the same way. So it's all the same discount. It's just these are all of your different options to get said discount. When you go to buy your passes, basically the discounted passes are going to be called like an SDM pass. That's senior disabled Medicare passes. And that'll be what you would qualify for if you fit within one of these ranges or categories. Okay, so we said we're going to talk about Pronto. You can see my fun little graphic on the right there. Ultimately, Pronto it's a bus pass. It's a bus and train pass. We just launched it, our new system. We used to have what was called Compass, but we have since said goodbye to Compass and have started Pronto as of September 1st. We actually just launched this. What's cool about Pronto is, like before, we share it with MTS down south. So if you see the red trolleys, the red buses, everything like that, they're using the same payment system, the same regional fare system as us. So you can pay for their services using the same account, using the same card, everything for a really seamless system and transition when you're traveling around San Diego. You have a couple different options depending on kind of your technical comfort. You can either get a physical purple card, just like what you see here on the screen, and you can tie that to an account. Or you can, if you have like a smartphone, you can actually have a virtual card with a little scanner that whenever you jump on the bus or jump on the train, you just hold it under the scanner and it works exactly the same way. It's just sourced through your phone. Ultimately, what you look to do is you either get the app or the card itself, set up an account at ridepronto.com, very easy. And then you can either do so through the app with your phone, or if there's a long serial number on the back of the physical cards, all you do is type that in to your account and it'll automatically recognize that card. So you can actually upload funds from like your credit card on the app, on the website, and put money on the card remotely. You're also able to load value at our customer service centers too, if that's a little bit easier for you, or at our ticket vending machines that we have at various stations. I will mention that not all of our bus stops are going to have ticket vending machines. We're only going to have them at our major stations, Carlsbad Village, Poinsettia, and our Oceanside Transit Center, basically all of our coaster stops and sprinter stops, but not all of the bus stations. So something to keep in mind if you're trying to load the card. There may not always be a TVM, as we call it, ticket vending machine. So if you're able to do it remotely, that is definitely the easiest option for you. And like I say, setting up an account is pretty straightforward. Ridepronto.com, it'll walk you through the whole thing, just a username, password, and then just put money on it or buy the passes as you see fit. So that's the gist of it. I know one of the things we were going to talk about too was the Carlsbad Connector, which is a service that we used to offer. It was kind of a last mile option that we had at meet you at some of our transit centers. Right around COVID, right before COVID, it was discontinued. It was a service that we had in partnership with both Sandag and the city of Carlsbad. That did discontinue. There wasn't a ton of use. And so the funding for it did cease until we could come up with a little bit more effective system. We are currently working with the city of Carlsbad to try and kind of develop what's called a micro transit, as we call it, system for not just Carlsbad, but some of the other cities in our area, working through various pilots and strategies and funding programs to kind of bring back, not specifically the Carlsbad Connector, but something of the the same beast, the same service for you. So that one I don't have too much of an update on, other than it is something that we're in active negotiations with the city of Carlsbad. Morgan, keep me honest, did I miss anything as far as what you guys were looking to talk about?
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job, and thanks for touching on the Carlsbad Connector and coaster and all that. I think it was very informative, and we have a couple questions in the chat here for you.
Okay.
And if anyone else has questions, please feel free to add them in the chat. We have plenty of time for them.
All right.
So you touched on reduced price fares. Is there anyone that's eligible for free fares as far as the bus?
So we don't really give free fares. We do work with various service groups and community groups in the area that will sometimes purchase passes, medical groups and such that will purchase the passes for their customer base or for their members. But as far as North County Transit goes, we are unable to necessarily offer free passes. As a government agency, we have to, it's kind of a tough line for us to work as far as giving out free service for anybody.
Sure. We had another question about commuting to the airport. So if someone wanted to take the coaster down with a bunch of luggage, what's the easiest way to get to the airport and back?
Sure. So we can get you most of the way. We'll get you about 90% of the way there, and then MTS will pick up the slack from there. So if you're coming from Carlsbad, I would say jump on the coaster via Carlsbad Village Station or the Poinsettia Station. That take that all the way down to the end of the line at Santa Fe Depot, from whence you would then jump on MTS's, one of their services. And I'm trying to remember specifically which bus it is down there. I apologize. I can look it up though. But you'll jump on MTS's service right there from Santa Fe Depot, and they'll actually take you the last leg. But coaster actually passes right by the airport, so we get you pretty close.
Great. And is there a resource people can use to map their way that recommends where they could find out which bus to take from the coaster, whether it's going to the airport or to
yes.
southeastern cities?
So if you actually, and I've got the link down there at the bottom, gonctd.com is our website. When you pull up the homepage, there's actually a little thing in the middle there that says, where do you want to go? It says starting point and then destination, and then you click a button that says, let's go. That's tied to Google Maps, and that will actually draw out your trip for you. I use it frequently. It'll tell you all of the usually it gives you several options, not just our services, but also say the Amtrak, which utilizes our train tracks as well. And it'll give you a lot of different options you can see sort of based upon the timeline you're looking for. And it'll get you as close as possible to your destination as well. So airport, super easy. That's probably one of our most searched options. And so, yeah, just on our homepage, it'll map out your trip for you. And it's pretty user-friendly as well.
Great. And you mentioned the coaster times are being expanded this weekend, you said?
So starting the 25th, which is, I believe,
the 25th?
Monday. Yeah. So we're having we have a service change 2 times a year for all of our services. Sprinter never really changes. The bus routes will change, but only by usually a few minutes. That's happening this weekend on the 24th, and all of those updates are on our website. But the big one, the exciting one, is coaster, because we're actually adding quite a bit of service overall to try and make it as accessible as ever for people. And that one starts Monday.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I know a lot of people who say they would take the coaster to work or, live in a different part of the city if there were more options. So that's really exciting to know that there are more options coming in.
We heard them, and we're working to make that our possibility. And then this is the first installment. Eventually, we're actually going to have even more additional frequency from here, but this is the first big move for us.
Awesome. So we have another question. If can people park at the coaster station parking lots for the duration of a weekend? So if they're going to be taking the coaster to the airport, can they leave their car there overnight is there a duration time?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So usually if it's like for the day, it's obviously no problem. If you're going to leave it overnight, that's totally allowable. That's fine. We do ask that you call our dispatch center just to let them know for two reasons. One, so that we know it's not like some abandoned car. And two, so we can keep an eye on it a little bit better too. I always do it. If I ever go to the airport, I've taken the coaster down there. And I'll leave my car here at Oceanside Transit Center, and I always call our dispatch center, which you can find at our website, and I can put it in the chat as well. And then that way they'll actually know for a fact, okay, that car, that plate is going to be there for however the weekend or such they're taking a trip. So yeah, very, very common situation that we just like to be in the loop on it if you're going to do that. And I'll be sure to put the phone number in the chat as well.
Great. And is that free, or is there a fee for that?
As of right now, it's free. Depending on the station you're at, once you get down to like San Diego, like Santa Fe Depot, I think it does charge for the lots down there, I want to say. But as far as the ones that were parking lots that we control throughout North County here, it is free.
Okay, great. Yeah, the question was in specifics to Poinsettia stations. That's good to know for that person and most of Carlsbad residents. So there was a question about Lyft. I'm not sure if you can speak on that. It's okay if not. I did want to mention to the person who asked that question, we did our last week's workshop on that presentation, on ride sharing, which includes Lyft and Uber. So if you're interested in hearing more about it, please visit the link, and we can provide that link, or Joe, maybe you can drop the link in again to where we have last week's recording, and they can get a more in-depth
I think the reference is to the Lyft Paratransit system for NCTD, not the rideshare. But yes, I will.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. So we have our Lyft service, which is LIFT, that we do offer, and I can touch on that a little bit. So ultimately, yeah, it's our paratransit service. It's an on-call service. There is a different pricing breakdown for it, but for those who need it, basically you get signed up with our service. You can actually book the trip ahead of time, and then they'll come pick you up and take you where you need to go. You do have to go through like an eligibility process for that, but I can put that in to our website as well. Right there, that should be it. But yeah, if you look up Lyft Paratransit, that's a program that we offer to a lot of our customers who need it.
Thanks so much. And yeah, in last week's recording, we did talk about Ride Fact, which is a service for those who don't qualify. If they don't pass the eligibility for paratransit, oftentimes the Ride Fact service can be another point of contact for you.
Oh, and sorry, I misspelled Lyft. There we go. So yeah. Anything else?
Great, thank you so much. I'll give it a couple more minutes if anyone has any more questions to go ahead and click the chat button at the very bottom there, and it'll allow you to type a question.
I think one question that might have come in from our folks watching at the Senior Center is Wi-Fi availability on these transit options. Kaelin, can you speak to that?
Yeah. So I believe we have it on the buses as well. Yes. But the train is actually, where we have it. We do have Wi-Fi capabilities, which really makes Coaster ideal, especially for commuters, because you can actually work while you go, or if you're going to work, say, you can work while you're riding. So yes, we do have Wi-Fi. Sprinter as well, our other train, the East-West.
And just from and I'll ask this from someone who's maybe doesn't take public transit as much, I mean, for those who are maybe apprehensive about taking public transit, or who might have apprehensions about just getting on or using it, or the availability, do you have any advice for people, maybe some first-time users, to kind of acclimate themselves to the process, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, so I'm a planner, and so the unknown always makes me anxious. So I always try and figure out as much as I can ahead of time. If you look down on the slide that I've got, the phone number is actually the phone number for our customer service center. We have customer service agents who are more than happy to walk you through it and very actively walk a lot of our customers through the process of how to get set up maybe with Pronto. They can actually walk them through kind of being a trip planner as well. If you don't necessarily want to mess with the website, you want to talk to a person, go ahead and call that number. They can walk you through the best route for you, time of day, and their recommendations on how to get to where you want to go. That's always something I've always appreciated, is the fact that you can talk to a real person. We're not going to hit you with some automated system to tell you to work with. You may have to be on hold for a minute, but ultimately we've got really great dedicated customer service staff that you can always talk to if you have any questions, any concerns, any apprehension about planning your trip or maybe getting started with public transit.
Thanks. And someone had a question that alluded to safety.
Mhm.
And do you have any advice if someone's on the bus, and if it's a different process for the coaster as well, if someone's feeling unsafe, whether it's someone else on the bus or maybe getting off, it's late. Do you have any advice for how to go about that?
Sure. So, our motto, and I think the motto of a lot of organizations, is always going to be see something, say something. If you feel something. We have a great partnership with all of the law enforcement agencies within our area, specifically with Sheriff's Department. They actually have a dedicated rail team for like the coaster, Sprinter as well, but they also respond to a lot of our bus locations too. Very, very familiar with the transit system. So that being said, we also have dedicated officers, say at Oceanside Transit Center, our major locations. Well, we have partnerships with Oceanside Police, Escondido Police, Sheriff's Department for the Vista area, and then along the coast as well. So if something is up, you see something, absolutely call. And our bus drivers are also usually pretty on top of that and have direct connection to our dispatch center, who communicates with law enforcement pretty actively as well. So ultimately, we say, see something, say something. Keep us aware, keep law enforcement aware. We have great partnerships with them and contract with them for that reason.
Great, thank you for that.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in at the moment. If anyone does have questions they think of later on, I'll put my email in the chat here. You can, oh, sorry, I didn't send it to everyone. I'll put my email in the chat here, so feel free to send me an email and ask questions. I can reach out to Kaelin directly, or the city of Carlsbad. His email's up on the screen as well, if you're comfortable with people coming to you for questions. Kaelin, so feel free to.
So I'll probably be referring you elsewhere, but yeah, I'm happy to answer questions.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, and thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Joseph, for inviting us and for our partnership, and we hope to see you again.
Yeah, and so everyone who's here today, be sure to visit us next week, where we talk about walking and biking in Carlsbad.
Great.
All right, Joe, you're muted.
One more question. Are masks required on NCTD services that just popped in?
Yeah, they are. So that's actually not our rule. That's going to be the TSA. It's a federal mandate. It's the same mandate that like the airport has to abide by, and pretty much all transit related services throughout the US. So yes, masks are mandated on all of our services.
And we have, people are less shy now as we're getting are there plans for any new routes or just increased frequency on existing routes?
So we actively plan around creating routes. Right now, I don't know of any plans for any new routes being created, but we are constantly, like I say, we have new changes to our services twice a year. And that's because typically we'll find new trends, new routes, new adjustments that need to be made for people. So we are usually editing or adjusting or adding frequency to services already in existence. But as far as New routes, we are always monitoring the demand and the need for it. But that's also something too, if you see a need for it, bring it to your city representatives, definitely. And they'll bring it to us or to our board as well. And that's always something that we're looking to get feedback on.
Awesome. Well, I think that probably wraps it up. Again, you can always reach out to any of these very talented and knowledgeable individuals about any questions you may have. Before we close out today, just wanted to remind everybody that this Move Carlsbad workshop is part of the city's Age-Friendly Carlsbad initiative, which I'm putting the link again in the chat. We're getting a head start on the action plan with some transportation education workshops. So that's the impetus for this Move Carlsbad program in partnership with Circulate San Diego via very generous sponsorship from the San Diego Foundation and AARP. So just wanted to let you all know about that and encourage you to visit the website and I have a challenge to tell a few friends about this program and about these workshops. And we have two more. The next one is on walking and biking in Carlsbad, and the fourth one is about the future developments for transportation in Carlsbad. So really looking forward to those and looking forward to getting your participation. The links to this workshop will be included, to the recording of this workshop will be included on the Age-Friendly website. It'll also be on the Carlsbad commuter website as well. And I'll put a link to that in this chat as well. It's carlsbadcommuter.com. So with that, I don't have anything else. Morgan, are you, I think we're good.
I think we're good. Thank you so much, Kaelin, for coming in and speaking to everyone today. And Joe, for your help. You were very on it with the links in a very timely manner. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today. And we'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. for workshop 3.
Thanks again.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everyone.